Yeah, so it's fairly typical in that you'll see a project come out in AI and it always comes out as like a developer tool first. So the recent hype has been these things called Auto GPTs. A lot of people are saying they're the next evolution in what's going to be happening with AI, where we can think about like Chat GPT itself as just a single instruction on your computer, right? It's just doing one single thing.
Right.
And any modern computer program has hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of these instructions. So if we think, okay, one GPT can allow us to do a few different little things here, what if we just string hundreds of these GPTs together and then have something way above that that's coordinating all of these little instructions to perform some larger task, right? And that's essentially the idea of an Auto GPT. What God Mode is taking Auto GPT, which is a GitHub project. It's source code. If you know how to run it, you can run it, but it's not 100% intuitive for people who don't know how to run code, right? So people have taken this project, they throw it up on a website, and you have something like God Mode where it wraps this really interesting Auto GPT project in a nice user interface. So now everybody can just go to godmode.space and actually use this concept of an Auto GPT. So for instance, what you're doing here is if we actually look at the God Mode website, you can literally type in whatever you want to do. Then you can launch the Auto GPT, and what it's going to do is the top level coordinator. You can think of it as like a manager at a company. That GPT's job is to come up with a really high level plan of what your Auto GPT should be doing. And then it's going to create lots of these other little GPTs, these little agents, to go and do a specific task. Maybe it's, okay, we know we need to research 5 topics for the podcast, so search the internet for the latest AI trends. And it's going to go and do that web search, come back with some information. Then maybe it passes that information to another GPT to read the information and turn it into bullet points, and so on. It just strings these steps together to achieve some like much higher level goal. God Mode is just one person's product on top of this Auto GPT concept. I think in the coming months we're going to see hundreds, if not thousands, of these products built on top of this concept of an Auto GPT. And right now, Auto GPT is actually a particular repository, like a particular project that someone's built on GitHub, but there will be many, many, many clones of that same concept because they are essentially just a wrapper around large language models. Even now, there's more and more different large language models coming out. Stability AI, for instance, they just released their own large language model. Stability AI is the company that made Stable Diffusion, which was the image generation model. So you're just going to see tons of iteration on top of this. You'll see apps built on top of it. You'll see there's already integrations with Slack. You can be in Slack and you can DM your Auto GPT and tell it to go and do this thing, and it will build a plan and try and execute your tasks. An interesting use case for this would be a to-do list that does your to-dos for you. Sounds far-fetched, but honestly, right now, if your to-dos are easy enough, it's possible. And as this concept expands even more, and your Auto GPT becomes integrated with your bank account and your browsing history and all of the other apps that you use, it's conceivable that you could, put a to-do, pay this person some amount of money, and your Auto GPT goes and actually does that transaction for you, which I think is insane. The Auto GPT generates this task list. It comes up with 7 different tasks. The tasks range from research target companies, identify the champion, compile a prospects list, craft outreach emails, send outreach emails, book meetings, follow up. These are the things this Auto GPT says, this is what I'm going to do as your sales GPT, right? And that's something that ChatGPT could do for you already. Like, okay, cool, it's given me a list of things to do. What's wild is that the Auto GPT goes and does these things now.
So bananas.
And the tooling in these projects, they they take GPT and they give it the functionality to search the web, to pull in new information, to send an email, to arrange a calendar invite. And yeah, it's wild.